Hi everybody, welcome to Dr. Manny's YouTube Learnshops. Today, in this session here, we'll be reviewing the family as a social agent or a social institution. The learning objectives for this session are for you to be able to define family as a social institution, describe family structure and the associated relationships, explain the terms kinship and marriage, discuss 3 theoretical perspectives of family, explain the functions of family in society, describe variance in family patterns, list dimensions of family organisations, discuss change and continuity within the family, and explain how the family is in a state of transition. So what's the definition of a family? Well, a family is a group of 2 or more people related by blood, marriage, adoption, and residing together in a household. 2 or more people who share goals and values and have long-term commitments to one another. That's a family. The concept of family, conceptualized in numerous ways. A fundamental idea about the structure of a family and its function in society. It's based on kinship, a group of people who share common ancestors or a basic social unit comprised of parents and their children. It's a popular acronym made up from the word family. Father and mother, I love you. Nice. The family household, what is it? Well, a family, the word comes from the Latin familia. And this is a group of people related by birth, marriage, adoption, consisting of parents and children living together in a household. A family household is a residence maintained by a householder who's in the family. And this is and can include unrelated people who may be residing there. The family household. The traditional family is heterosexual. It's monogamous, and you're married. The traditional family structure is a nuclear family, and this is a composition that is common in urban areas. The average household has got both parents and typically 2 or more children. Extended families, however, are more common in suburban and rural areas, globally, not just in Malaysia. What are some of the traditional family roles? Men and women are typically associated with a certain social role, which is dependent on personality traits associated with those roles. So for example, the role of a homemaker is typically associated with females. The role of the breadwinner or the primary earner is typically associated with males. Traditional family duties. A good mother has been expected to contribute to her whole family for the whole of her life. A mother typically, theoretically, holds the family together because it's up to mother to provide loving care and support needed for her growing children. The father is the head of the family with ultimate authority over everybody in the family, the woman, the wife, and the children. Fathers traditionally make the rules and enforce them. Fathers provide a feeling of security. In the family structure, you've got a number of elements. You can have the nuclear, extended, lone parent, nomadic, communal, adoptive, reconstituted, and sometimes even homosexual. In the nuclear family, the structure is defined as parents and their children, biological and or adopted, who are living in the same household. Typically, the nuclear family consists of 2 generations. An example of the nuclear family is mother, father, and their children. In the conjugal or conjugal family, depending on how you pronounce it. This is a nuclear family that may consist of a married couple and their children, or a couple who are unmarried or underage. Conjugal means that there is a marriage relationship, sometimes referred to as conjugal. I prefer the pronunciation conjugal. The extended family structure, this is a nuclear family and close relatives living in the same household, often spanning 3 generations. And in the extended family, you've got father, mother, their children, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, even in-laws, all living in the same household. This is an example of an extended Malay family. This is an example of an extended Chinese family. This is an example of an extended Indian family. This is an example of an extended Western family. So it can occur in all types of cultures. The Consanguine family structure is a fancy way of just saying genetically related. Biological parents and children, uncles and nephews and brothers and sisters are all considered consanguine, genetically related. People who are connected through marriage or adoption are not consanguine because they're not genetically related. I have my wife's nephews, they call me uncle. I'm not their uncle. I'm not related to them by marriage. I'm just their aunt's husband. What are some of the variations in the family structure? I already said. You've got nuclear, extended, lone parent, nomadic, communal, adoptive, reconstituted, homosexual. And these are different types of family structures and arrangements which extend globally. The single lone parent family, this consists of one parent and a child or children residing in one household. Single parent families are families with children under the age of 18, and they're headed by a parent who's either widowed or divorced and not remarried, or by a parent who has never ever been married. Then you've got the reconstituted family. A reconstituted family is when 2 different families join together after one or both partners have been divorced from their previous partners, or they may have been widowed. This family option can sometimes be referred to as the blended family or a step family. Then you've got the adoptive family, a family where one or more of the children has been adopted. Sometimes children and adults use the term real parents instead of birth parents. Be clear that the adoptive parents are the real parents because they raise the child. Any structure of family may also be considered an adoptive family. In the communal family, also called communes, there are groups of people who live together, share properties and often follow a set of rules and guidelines for living daily life. Some communes are formed by people with specific religious beliefs, environmental beliefs, while others are formed from economic necessity. Then you've got the dual earner family, and this describes what was then a new family form that arose when women who had once worked inside the home moved to the cash economy and took paid jobs. And this is a marriage in which both partners pursue occupational careers. And sometimes they may have to because of economic requirements. In the symmetrical family, this is where a family divides all responsibilities equally between partners. Roles of the husband and wife have become equal or shared. So for example, the father does the childcare, cooking and laundry, and the mother earns the money. And this may be done on a 6-monthly basis, or a monthly basis, or a permanent basis. You've got the LGBT family, and this refers to the lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender community, raising more than one children as parents and foster parents. And this is scientific research indicates that children of the same-sex couples, for example, fare just as well or even better than children who are raised by opposite-sex monogamous couples. What are some of the functions of family in society? Well, the five main functions of a family are socialization, reproduction, regulation of sexual activity, meaning to decrease the event of promiscuity, early pregnancy, provide protection and care, economic and emotional security. When we look at socialization, which we've looked at numerous times, the family is considered the first agent of socialization. Parents, siblings, other relatives serve as initial role models. They transmit culture between generations. They provide a sense of identity and belonging. They teach what's socially acceptable and what is not. It reinforces heritage, culture and values, and helps to shape character by regulating social behaviours. You've got procreation and reproduction. This is where giving birth to new members of our society, which guarantees survival of that society. Family is the approved social unit to replace members who die. The new replace the old. And rules are set for who can have or how to raise children. You've got regulation of sexual behaviour, because in all societies there are rules about sexual activity. Abstinence versus satisfaction of the sexual needs. Incest is considered taboo. There are risks associated with casual unprotected sex. Every culture, regardless of sexual activity and reproduction, in the interest of maintaining kinship, organisation and property rights. Then you've got economic and emotional security. Family is the most basic economic support and our primary emotional support. It provides protection and care to children or older family members. Examples that are important are for food, shelter, clothing and healthcare. Then you've got what are considered theoretical perspectives of family. And you've got numerous theories. I've just chosen these. Family ecological theory, exchange theory and feminist theory. In family ecological theory, this theory encourages research and policymakers to create environments that improve families' quality of life. It looks at the environment surrounding the family that may affect family life and children's outcomes. Think of Malaysia. But it's not just Malaysia, it's every country in the world, believe me. Even the United States of America. You've got social exchange theory. And this theory proposes that social behaviour is the result of an exchange process. People weigh the potential benefits and risks of social relationships. When the risks outweigh the rewards, people will terminate or abandon that relationship. So for example, a successful businessman may look for a wife who's young, attractive, care for his family, make his home beautiful and meet all the social requirements as he progresses through his career. Then you've got feminist theory, and this is a theoretical perspective which observes gender in its relationship to power. The theory proposes that gender is central to the analysis of the family. Male dominance in a society and in the family is oppressive to women in this theory. Then let's extend this to marriage. Marriage. What is marriage? Marriage is considered to be a commitment of two people to one another and is the foundation of family life and exists in all cultures with some variations. In most societies, marriage is considered a permanent social and legal contract and a relationship between two people that is based on mutual rights and obligations. In Islamic law, marriage is a legal and social contract between two individuals. And marriage is strongly recommended, being whenever the individuals feel ready, financially and emotionally ready. In a Christian marriage, according to many Christian denominations, marriage is the union between a man and a woman, and it's ordained by God as a lifelong relationship between one man as husband and one woman as wife. Typology patterns in marriage consist of monogamy, polygamy, polyandry, and group marriage. In monogamy, this is where marriage is between one man and one woman. Humans are one of the few species that practice monogamy. Then you've got serial monogamy, which basically means that you marry, divorce and remarry. But at that time, the person is married only to one partner. In polygamy, this is the practice of marrying multiple spouses. Polygamy, a man is married to more than one wife at one time. Polyandry, a woman is married to more than one husband at one time. Then you've got endogamy, and this is a practice of marrying within the same ethnic, cultural, social, religious or tribal group. And it can be the result of a conscious decision or cultural pressure to marry within that selected group, but also occurs as a result of geographical isolation. Endogamy. Then you've got exogamy, when one marries someone outside one's own group. For example, someone of a Jewish descent may marry outside their cultural endogamy to decrease the chance of having children with certain congenital anomalies that are transferred genetically. Heterogamy. This is marriage between two individuals who are culturally different. You've got homogamy, which is marriage between two individuals who are culturally similar. And from a sociologist's standpoint, is a marriage with a person of similar socioeconomic status, ethnicity, race, age, educational level, and or religion. When we look at residential patterns related to after you get married. So after getting married, the couple needs to live somewhere. And where the couple ends up varies depending on their culture. There are four major patterns: neolocal, patrilocal, matrilocal, and bilocal. When you come to neolocal, that basically means the couple lives apart from both sets of parents. Neolocal residence is a type of post-marital residence in which a newly married couple resides separately from both the husband and the wife's household. In a neolocal residence, and it forms the basis of the most developed nations, so especially in the West, this happens commonly, and is also found among nomadic communities. the married couple live on their own, basically. In a patrilocal, this is when the couple lives with the husband's patrilocal husband family. Patrilocal is a society or custom in which the married couple settles with or near the husband's family. An example would be in a society that would be described as patrilocal is the society where a woman gets married and moves next door to her husband's parents. Matrilocal, when the couple lives with the wife's family household. And matrilocal refers to a custom or culture where the husband goes to live with the wife's family. An example would be the custom of a tribe is for the man to marry and then go live with the mother and father-in-law. This is a pattern of matrilocal tribes. Bilocal, both. So the couple decides which parents they live with. They decide. When we look at kinship, kinship is considered to be a network of people who are related by marriage, birth or adoption. And the family is generally recognised as an element of a broader kinship network that links ancestors and descendants of a person. An example of kinship is the relationship between brothers, sisters or both. When we talk about descendant kinship patterns, you've got patrilineal, matrilineal, bilateral descendant. In a patrilineal descent, something patrial is related to your relationship with your father or to your father's line of male descendants. Patri, this is to do with the male. For example, your father, his father's father, and so on. A kinship system in which family connections are traced through the father's line, property passed on from father to son. Then you've got matrilineal descent. Matrilineal is related to your relationship with your mother or your family's line of female descendants. Examples are someone being half Chinese because their mother is Chinese, or your mother or her mother's mother. Family connections are traced through the mother's line. Property is based from mother to daughter, passed from mother to daughter. Then you've got bilateral descent. Bilateral descent is a system of family lineage in which the relatives on the mother's side and the father's side are equally important for emotional ties, for transfer of property or wealth. And kinship is traced through both parents. Property is inherited equally from either side of the family. Bilateral descent. In societal authority, you've got patriarchy, that's male. Matriarchy, female. Egalitarian, equality. This is shared authority. Then you have familial authority. Patriarchy, that's looking at it in a little bit more detail. A system in which the authority is vested in males, male control of the society or the group. This is the most prevalent system all over the world. Familial authority, this is matriarchy. The female controls the society. True matriarchy, however, is rarely found in history. However, in Mosuo China, this is China's last surviving matriarchy. About 40,000 of them. Females inherit. They do not marry or live with a partner. They raise the children. In Umoja Kenya, they also refer to it as no man's land because men are banned. And this is a village, the home of women who've been abused. Either sexually or gender-based violence has been the issue. The Umoja village, which means unity in Swahili, was founded in 1990. Then you've got an Indonesian-based, I can't pronounce it properly I don't think, Minangkabau Indonesia. This is a matriarchal society encompassing 4 million people. And the common belief in this culture is that the mother is the most important person in society, which is not uncommon in a whole lot of other societies. Women rule the domestic realm of life. While marriage is feasible, partners must have separate sleeping quarters. An additional concept to think about in relation to familial authority is that you can have an egalitarian system as well. And egala just means equal. So authority is equally divided amongst males, which are the husbands, and females, which are the wives. Now there are changes occurring in society, especially in relation to family continuity, and maybe they are appropriate and applicable to Malaysia, and I think they probably are. Some of the key changes include a reduction of the extended family, more related to nuclear now. Changing of authority within the family, maybe not male dominated. Changing of status of women, not home care providers just. A decline in the family size, big families, possibly not. Changing attitudes towards sex and marriage, maybe marriage isn't in the forefront, and maybe sex is considered outside of the marriage circle. Free choice of mate selection, so not being guided or directed by family in relation to who you want to marry or who you want to be with. Now, some of the processes that affect family continuity are related to how much money you have, economic development, whether it's industrialization or urbanization, change in social institutions and the family, financial conflict in lower class families, and these tend to have a high divorce rate. Typically now, family issues are always related to primarily financial situations. If you don't have money, it creates problems. If you can't pay your bills, it creates problems. Then you've got cultural diffusion. The conjugal family is ideal, or other Western ideas change family norms. Government policies. There are new family laws, for example, here. There are benefits in Malaysia here for pregnant teenage single mothers. But having said that, in other societies as well. Class. Lower class families tend to have more children. Middle class families have less children. Higher class families tend to be more nuclear. Then you've got evolving societal family functions in relation to procreation and reproduction, protection, sexual regulation, emotional maintenance, economy, and education, which we'll review. So when we talk about changes in reproduction, procreation and reproduction are essentially affected by birth control. More number of children is being discouraged and declining in sizes of families. Depends on what country you're in. I mean, it's proactive here in Malaysia. Births, children are being encouraged. Postponing marriages. So therefore, the first birth may be a lot later in life for certain married couples. Then you've got the concept of test tube babies with the use of donor, ovum and sperm. You've got changes related to protection. I mean, this function has been partially absorbed by specialised agencies such as hospitals, long-term care centres, geriatric centres, community nursing homes. Grandparents tend to more, in Malaysia, I've observed as well, caring for grandchildren or relatives of children. Because people have to work. Then you've got changes in relation to sexual regulation. Marriage is occurring more often these days without parental permission. Premarital, unmarried cohabitation, extramarital relations seem to be increasing. Then you've got serial monogamy. Prostitution seems to be increasing. Teenage casual sex seems to be escalating. Then you've got emotional maintenance. as a change factor. Children are affected with emotional issues due to their working mothers. They send them to external agencies such as nurseries or maternity homes. There are more divorces, so divorced and single parent families are increasing, and you've got abusive and violence occurring in families. And typically here, domestic violence is problematic, as I said. It's usually because of finances. But there are lots of abuses that can occur related to social isolation. Look at COVID-19. Globally, domestic violence has escalated in every country in the world. You can have sexual abuse, psychological abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse. Then you've got changes related to economics. Most of the family economic functions are performed by factory or industrial units. More symmetrical in families. Most families and workers prefer white-collar work in offices rather than blue-collar, which is hands-on. The family have moved from a unit of production to a unit of consumption. In the modernised era, you've got purchasing technology, such as buying computers, washing machines, TV, handphones, technology. Online purchasing activities and social media have increased. This is especially being recommended during the COVID-19 pandemic. Then you've got changes in education. The family has got a lesser role in socialising the children. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced of that. I think family is still probably the most important socialising factor. However, according to the research, it's being performed by preschools, kindergarten, schools, college, university, and mass media nowadays, which again you'll review when we look at institutions such as this as agents of socialisation. The teacher appears to be a substitute for family and parents. Again, I'm not convinced. The teacher is an important element for education, socialisation. However, I think the family still is. So in conclusion, families are the compass that guide us all. They're the inspiration to reach great heights for us and our children, and our comfort when we occasionally falter, make mistakes. Okay, that's the end of this session. Thanks everybody. If you're interested in any of the other Learnshops, please have a look on YouTube at the Dr. Manny Learnshops.